Well, I know it's been a while, but I am back with the Shadowhunter reviews. It's been about since last year. It's hard to believe that 2016 is already over and then it's beginning of 2017. But I am back, and hope you guys had a good New Year's. I haven't talked to you guys since last year, but yeah. So I want to talk about the season 2 premiere of Shadowhunters with the first episode now. Honestly, I had forgotten that it was coming on yesterday. Like I was looking around and I just happened to look up Shadowhunters, or actually it was on Facebook, and I was on Facebook and it said the premieres tonight, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, the season 2 premieres tonight. So of course it was like a few hours before, so I didn't miss it or anything. I still had time, so I changed it, and I'm gonna try to review the episode as best I can. If I stumble over a few things, I apologize. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember what all happens. I'll try to take notes from now on. Every time I watch the episodes, I'll try to take notes on what happens. But I'm just really going to be giving my raw thoughts and opinions on the episode. And really, I did talk about season 2 and what I was hoping would happen. And as far as the show following the books, I mean, I think we know what to expect by this point. It's obviously not gonna be a real faithful to the books. It's still got some of the same aspects as the books, but it's going to be different. So I think if you haven't really accepted that yet, that's something you're going to have to accept. I mean, if you can't, then I mean, you might as well not watch the show. But other than that, this episode, I was pleasantly surprised, honestly. This was just like, I can't even begin to just tell you how much more impressed I was by this episode. I mean, the acting felt much more natural, because they were talking about how they got a new director, I think, at least for the first episode, or they got a new director for the show. Hopefully they did, and they got new screenwriters, or show writers. It really shows. It really does. The acting felt more natural, way more natural. The acting was better. Like, it was just better. Like when they were trying to act sad or happy, or they were getting into arguments, or people were getting agitated, characters were getting I believed it. It didn't feel forced, because like last season, there were times where the acting just felt so forced. I didn't feel that this time. I felt like the acting was a lot more natural. Maybe it's just because I had higher expectations for this season. Maybe that's why the acting seemed more natural to me, but it really did. I mean, Catherine McNamara as Clary, her acting felt way more natural, like way better than the first season. So does Dom's acting as Jace, and everyone was pretty good. The swords look better, the seraph blades look better, the effects look better, much better. Everything looks better. I don't know how else to say it. Everything just looks a lot better, and the acting is just so much better, and that's awesome. So hopefully that means the show will just keep on getting better and better from here on out. But overall, as far as this first episode goes, it was pretty good. We opened up with was Jace on the boat, and we see Clary there, and immediately I was like, okay, this has got to be like a dream sequence or something, because I know Clary, it hasn't actually gone after him. But there's a few fight scenes, and then Jace fights Valentine, and he kills Valentine. I'm like, okay, I know this isn't real, because there's no way Jace could defeat Valentine that easily. And it turns out that it isn't. It's just Clary is actually Valentine in a rune, in a shape-shifting rune, or whatever you call it. I can't quite remember, but yeah, like a shape-shifting rune. So he glamours himself to look like Clary, but it's really Valentine. And the Valentines are just like I don't know, simulations or something. I'm not sure. But it's really just, he's like testing Jace, and then like later on you see them chain Jace, and they're like beating the shit out of him, and Jace is like bleeding and everything. It's quite brutal. And I really like that. I like that they had like some brutality in there. It really adds to the tension, of the episode and everything. And you're starting to, you actually worrying about Jace, because what if they do break him mentally, and what if they, Valentine does convince him to, turn to his side. But I mean, for me, anyways. And then, of course, back at the Institute, Alec is pretty distraught because, Jace is his parabatai. And I like this, too, because I felt like the concern, again, the acting was just so much better, but, like, Alec is really, you can tell Alec is really concerned. He wants to find Jace. He wants to he'll do anything he can to find Jace. He just really wants to find his parabatai, and we see some tension between him and Magnus. But by the end of the episode, they kind of have a talk and just say, look, Magnus just says, look, dude, we're gonna have rough times, but we got to communicate. We can't just push each other away or whatever. And then Clary obviously feels, she wants to find. She's trying to do, she wants to find Jace, and Aldertree has come in as the new person who's in charge of the Institute, and he has deemed Jace an official criminal. And he is wanted either dead or alive. So obviously Clary, Isabel, Alec, I mean, everyone is pretty unhappy with that, but they can't really do anything about it. Simon, Simon is awesome. This Simon in the movie is freaking awesome. Alberto just does such a good job as Simon. Because there was a scene where Aldertree kicks Simon out because Aldertree is declaring that he's not allowing Downworlders to be in the Institute without his permission. So Simon goes and crashes at Luke's restaurant, and they're talking, and Simon obviously he has feelings for Clary, and that's really I like that. I like that they're at least following that from the book, because in the second book. Simon still has really strong feelings for Clary, so he's trying to make those feelings known. He almost tells her at one point when Clary and Simon are stuck in that warehouse because Clary's mom tricks them and like locks them in there to keep Clary from doing something stupid. And he almost tells her, but then they get interrupted, of course, because Simon was like trying to break down the door, and then eventually just gives and falls down. So. Hopefully Simon gets to tell her how he feels, but yeah, but like back before that, like when he was at the restaurant, Luke was like, oh yeah, you can stay here, and then Luke goes back to the station, and then like all the other werewolves in the place just gather around him, and I thought they were gonna like beat him up for 1 second, but they don't, but like he gets up and he's like trying to pull like a Jedi mind trick on the I'm guessing that was Maya. The one with it looked like she had dyed hair, so I can't remember what color, but she had dyed hair. I'm guessing that's Maya right there. But he was trying to pull a Jedi mind trick on them. It was cheesy, but it was funny at the same time. I enjoyed it. It seems like that would be something that Simon from the book would do. But yeah, that was kind of funny. And then Maya is like, "You're the worst vampire ever," and then drags him and puts him in the warehouse. Or they put him in the warehouse. So. That was funny, and then we got, we get clips from Valentine really just trying to convince Jace that, like we see him drag a vampire into the sun, and just him trying to convince him that, his attitude towards Downworlders, about how his kind of acceptance of Downworlders, as long as they don't break the accords or whatever, saying that Jace has been, has become weak and everything, and again, that's very book Valentine, because Valentine just wants to rid the world of Downworlders pretty much, because he just doesn't like Downworlders. They're savages at heart, and they're going to give into their true nature eventually. So he wants to rid the world of Downworlders. And another thing that I really liked was like Valentine was making spaghetti or something, spaghetti sauce in the kitchen, and Jace walks in, and Valentine's like, "Hey, remember on your birthday when I made you your favorite thing was spaghetti, and I made you spaghetti sauce?" And I'm pretty sure he was going to talk about how like he made it spaghetti sauce, and Jace like had a bath in spaghetti sauce, because that's something else that Jace talked about in the first book. So I'm glad that they added that little callback in there too. That was just a cool little thing. But it's really just a struggle, because because Jace is still not giving in. Like he's still like, no, the Lightwoods raised me. The Lightwoods are my real family. You abandoned me and everything, and so. And Valentine was like, "Oh, I just did that because I love you and everything." And then, so we got that going on. And then by the end of the episode, we see Clary's mom, can't remember her name, of course, but yeah, Clary's mom, Jocelyn. Yeah, we see Jocelyn try to shoot Valentine with the crossbow, and Jace decides to protect Valentine, and they go through, I think it was a portal. And before that, Valentine led Jace into like a house of vampires, and they were feeding on innocent mundanes, I think, and he proceeds to kill most of them. And then there was that one vampire who was saying, "Oh, you won't do it. You know, you're basically calling him a goody two shoes. How he follows the rules and the accords and everything." And he finally kills her. You know, we see, I think it was Clary or Simon that knocked Jocelyn out of the way to try to avoid, so she wouldn't accidentally shoot Jace or whatever, and that's when Jace took Valentine through the portal and went with him. I saw that she shot. I don't think she hit them, but it would be interesting if she actually, like, if she shot them, it didn't look like she hit one of them, but she actually did. I don't think that happened though. But yeah, and then I'm trying to remember what else. What else happened? Well, we had a scene where Isabel was training with Clary, like with fighting and everything, and they were using like staffs and everything, and I think it looked like Isabel turned her whip into a staff or something. I don't know. It looked kind of like that. That was kind of cool. And we had this really cool scene where Clary and Simon, like right before Simon confesses his true feelings to Clary, like they were talking about how they got into her mom's liquor cabinet in 10th grade and like were drinking and everything. How they had like hangovers the next morning. That was a pretty cool scene. And that's just another example of the acting just feeling more natural. I can't stress that enough. The acting just is so much better. I don't know if it's because they've grown into their characters more, or if it's because they got a new director or show writers. Maybe that's it, you know, because sometimes the actors are only as good as the directors. So maybe the new director really helped the acting and stuff, and this new show writers improved the dialogue, maybe, because even the dialogue felt better. I don't know. The overall everything just felt better, which is very good, because season 1 just had so many problems, and the show still has some problems, but it's definitely improving, like a big improvement, big step up. But yeah, so really they're trying to save Jace, and they're trying to get him away from Valentine, but Jace once again has went with Valentine, and Allard Tree is becoming a real dictator at the Institute. And you know, we had the Alec and Magnus tension in the relationship, and then you know, we get a scene with Alec and his mom saying, you know, just forget Jace, you know, he's made his choice, and Alec is like, no, you know, Jace is my brother, you know, he's more than blood, he's my parabatai. Which again, they kept repeating. In the season 1, they kept saying, "Oh, you're my parabatai," or "We're parabatai," and everything. But it didn't feel like the bond was. I don't know. To me, it just didn't feel like the bond was shown to be really strong enough. But in this one, it drives the point and the meaning of parabatai home more clearly. We also get a point where Clary is trying to do that tracking thing, that weird tracking thing. I'm not a big fan of that. And we do have one where Allard Tree takes Clary into his office, and Clary tells him what happened, and that leads to Allard Tree declaring Jace a criminal, so Allard Tree kind of tricked her. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. If I forgot something, then I apologize. But I am on a time limit with these videos, so but yeah, that's my review. Season 2 is looking to be much better than Season 1, which maybe it was a Season 1 thing. Is not the first seasons of some shows aren't always the best, but hopefully, you know, it's going to improve in here. And it does look like it did. It does look like it is going to improve, because this first season of Season 2, I know I've said it multiple times. I probably sound like a broken record, but it was just so much better. It just felt so much better to me. The acting and just the effects and the scripts and dialogue and everything. So I don't know, it just feels better to me, just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Just let me know what you think overall. And I will talk to you guys. I will be here with the next episode review for the show, and that's it. So peace and have a good day.